Today I will be 100%ing Elden Ring. That means collect every legendary armament, every legendary spirit ash, all legendary spells and incantations, on top of beating the game 3 separate times to get the Lord of Frenzied Flame ending, the Elden Lord ending, and arguably the canon ending to Elden Ring, which requires you to beat Mommy Ranni's questline, the Age of Stars ending. Then all there is to do after that is beat some of the hardest bosses ever created by FromSoft. Now you may be thinking, yo, Insight, why are you putting yourself through so much pain, anguish, and turmoil? And the answer to that is pretty simple. I'm a masochist. Anyways, the bright side is that most of these achievements are monotonous, having you run around for a good while doing some hunting, but that's not the beast of the challenge. Beating the bosses are. That's too easy. And sure, you could always cheese enemies, use summons, do ridiculous spell builds where you can literally big bang fucking Kamehameha bosses from the other side of the planet, but that's not very Chad of you, Tarnished. So despite my past runs having gotten a good chunk of these achievements, this run will be done with a weird Malekith build I fashioned together, using some faith incantations and occasionally trying to parry a few enemies, doing my best to entertain you guys. Please subscribe. And thus we begin our adventure as everyone does, being told we have absolutely no bitches. Pretty fucking rude way to start a game, telling me something I already knew. Alright, time to go get me a maiden. And I think we can all agree that that comment was pretty mean, but with my expert level of emotional awareness, I knew that the premier coping mechanism for this was violence. New game plus this dick. Then after that, it was time to meet up with one of our main squeezes for the game, Melina, whose sole purpose of existence is to burn down the Erd tree, and I'm down to Ferngully as much as the next person. So naturally I accepted, and she offered me an accord, but not before I made a really stupid joke.
I offer you an accord.
A Honda Accord? Now, the most important part of this run is progressing Ranni's quest, and one of the first encounters actually takes place immediately after talking to Melina, which required me to head back to the church where we first fought the Tree Sentinel, where you see Mommy Ranni sitting on some busted-ass wall. And after my failed Riz attempt, I decided that burying my sword into a boss was the best outlet for my internal shame and rage, so I ran over to a lake to body a dragon. Oh, he died! Oh, get wrecked, dragon. Then after that, it was time to meet with one of the coolest NPCs in the game to further Ranni's questline, Blythe, who can be found howling atop the Limgrave Mistwood ruins. And the neat part is you need an emote to get him down, and in order to get that, you have to first see him howling on top of these ruins, then return again to the church where you first met Ranni, and the merchant will talk to you about the howling and give you the emote you need. Then after getting all of that busy work out of the way, it was time to get back to the boss cheek clapping grind, and Margit was next on the list. And if M. Night Shyamalan directed what happened next, it would have been titled The Clappening. And if this is your first time playing Elden Ring, this is where you would get the Margit the Fell Omen achievement. It's too easy, guys. What is this, a tutorial boss? I thought he was supposed to be hard, and look at him, he's just died. He had a heart attack. Then after beating Margit, since this was technically my third playthrough, which I will elaborate on later on in the video, I decided to cut all the fluff out of it and made a direct beeline to Godric the Grafted. What a little bitch. 11,000 damage. Oh, it's too easy. And thus we unlock the Shard Bearer Godric achievement. Next, we needed to do some more busy work, which required me to talk to another NPC affiliated with Blue Mommy, which was a giant named Iji. And at first glance, due to some unaddressed PTSD you might have gotten from your first giant encounter, you would think he's probably going to give you the Hulk treatment, being a thick old boy, but he's actually quite the distinguished gentleman. Then progressing his dialogue informs you of Carrion Manor, which requires Siege to make it to Ranni's Rise. There's also a high probability of you getting fingered in there, so if you haven't gotten a prostate exam yet, this will break you in. But before I was willing to go through all of that, I decided to piece up another dragon, grab a special item, enter Ray Lucaria, where I would get my third achievement of the run, Red Wolf of Radahn. The good thing was this boss was actually incredibly squishy, and a single swipe of Maliketh's Blackblade was like a quarter of this thing's health, which was dope for me. The problem was execution. Oh my god, he's fucking me up! Yeah, it's pretty safe to say there was a few near misses, but we prevailed. And at this point of the run, I was actually feeling hella confident in not dying, which was surprising because I have never fought with a colossal weapon, and even with it being a bit slower, I was actually managing. But all of that not dying thing came to an abrupt halt by a very unlikely enemy. He parried!
Baby, you got something in your nose.
Okay, I did say it though. I said, I'm gonna die to something fucking stupid. Then, adding insult to injury, apparently this enemy is notorious for doing this to people, and I just had no idea. This was a first one for me. Then it was time for arguably one of the easiest achievements to get in the game, Rennala, Queen of the Full Moon. And since I went into this fight thinking she was going to be a pushover, I was colorfully reminded that this is a FromSoft game. Damn it! I forgot that if she hits you, it actually does do a lot of damage. Luckily though, one mistake was all it took for me to get my shit together, but man, I did not realize that magic could hit that hard, which, spoiler, it was a lesson I would learn even harder later in the game. God damn! Ugh. I forgot how wispy that bitch could be. Next, it was finally time for me to reunite with Ranni, so I narrowly avoided getting finger blasted in Carrion Manor, fought Casper's equestrian bitch mother, suck it, horse spirit, spanked a dragon so hard it flew away. See ya, bitch. Yeah, get the f out of here, you little bitch.
I'm sorry for cursing.
Then with all of that aside, Ranni asked me to be enter her service. Roused. Ranni, I am roused. Now, to progress Ranni's storyline from here, it's legitimately a talking marathon. You talk to the three spectral versions of Blaidd, Seluvis, and Iji, talk to the real Iji, talk to the real Seluvis, talk to the real Blaidd, then after fast traveling my nutsack into oblivion, I was allowed to play the game again, which was actually kind of bittersweet because now it was time for Radahn. And even though this was post-patch Radahn, bro still throws down. I fully expected dude to beat me into the ground more than 12.5 times, but after dying just a few times, I got him with a little bit of that dank Ratusi Hiroshima flower incantation, but the fight had a pretty unorthodox ending. We're finishing him in style, boys! Hit him with that rock! Oh, come on!
Nice car.
Now, how I was performing was definitely an outlier based off of my previous attempts with a lot of these bosses. However, make no mistake, me doing this well was solely based off of one key factor, knowing what the enemy is going to throw at me. But there's some complexities to that statement, so I'm going to fill you in on the lore. Because like many of you guys watching, I started playing Elden Ring when it initially released, but I wasn't really a Souls player at all. Like, I played Dark Souls 3 a little bit, but I never actually really dove in, nor did I beat that game. And even when I did start playing Elden Ring, I didn't know how to do much of anything, so I installed the seamless co-op mod and played with friends, so I was either playing with people or using summon and cheeses to beat most of all the bosses, including some of the harder late game bosses. So my first completion of the game was done on crutches, which is where I got the Elden Lord ending, and in order for that to have happened, for those who don't know how modding works, you essentially take your save file and move it to another server, so wherever your save left off, that's where you start in the modded version. but you can't take it back to the FromSoft server unless you can figure out how to hide the items that were modded into that game, because their anti-cheat system would detect the tampering and ban you. And I didn't want to mess with any of that. So the run where I got the Lord of the Frenzied Flame ending was the original run I left off at when I first started playing the game, and that's why this run is the only one that's on New Game Plus. I know that was confusing, but here we are, and you did a great job hanging in there. Now, after beating Radahn and talking to Blythe, it was time to make our long journey to Volcano Manor, where we talked to the BDSM house mother, who was so accommodating and only asked that in order to meet our Lord and Snake Daddy Rykard, that I venture out and hunt down our fellow Tarnished. To which I replied, "Did you think I don't know about that secret corridor behind the bookshelf in the other room?" So we progressed to the world's worst timeshare vacation spot, where we would secure yet another achievement, the Godskin Noble, aka Queso for those who are familiar with all of his streams and the premise of all of his chat's punchlines. And naturally, I had to style on this boss a bit, considering the pain he put me through the first time I played this game. There we go. There we go. That's too easy. That's too easy. Next, we continued the trend of being the world's worst house guest, which we accomplished by putting a halt to what appeared to be a giant snake orgy and fight the infamous FromSoft gimmick boss. You know, the one where they literally give you the tool designed to beat the boss next to the welcome mat of the arena. Also, special note, this weapon's kind of busted overall. You legit have to try to mess this one up.
1 minute later.
And with this fight completed, we unlocked the Shard Bearer Rykard achievement. Now, question for the classroom, and all answers are welcomed. Anybody out there have an easy time on their New Game Plus? Some of these guys out here took me 30 to 50 tries to beat on my first run, so I'm just genuinely curious. Also, semi-related matter, if you go back to Volcano Manor where BDSM Mommy is, talk to her, then go back to Rykard's lair, talk to her and then kill her, reload that area, then you can fight her Crucible Knight. So that's kind of fun. Get fucking worked! Then after making the long trek over to Leyndell City and folding a few more enemies along the way, it was time to fight Godfrey. I think it was the Golden. And traditionally this fight isn't too bad. Like once you get the timings down, you can really get in a few hits pretty easy. But my pride being my pride, I tried to parry him, ultimately ending in me getting cleaved in two more than a couple times, just concluding my thesis that despite having the most telegraphed moveset in the game, some weapons are simply not parryable. Damn it! Son of a bitch, dude. Why can't I parry him? Is he not parryable? But after many failed parried attempts, we actually ended up getting the dub and got Godfrey, the first Elden Lord achievement. Then directly after this fight, it's time to fight Margit again, except he reveals that his name is actually King Morgott, and that was just an alias this whole time. Now, I've noticed a copious amount of people who like to take jabs at Morgott's battle. I guess there's a bunch of people out there who actually beat him in one try, but I can assure you from my previous run, I was not one of them. Oh, bad trade! Bad trade! Bad trade! No! No, no, no! No, not like this! Go! Come on! Some people like myself take a little longer, all right? Here we go, here we go. Am I fucking tripping right now? Or is he aggro as shit? I can't be the only one seeing this, right? Like, he's supposed to stop swinging sometimes, isn't he? So it's pretty safe to say that my first time fighting Morgott with no summons was pretty brutal. I think he killed me about 40 times, but we learned from those mistakes, implementing calculated adjustments, resulting in less bloodshed for me this time around. Get fucking wrecked, Morgott. First try. And I swear, I do not know what it is about these FromSoft games, but man, do you have to keep your guard up. I was just minding my own business after clapping another dragon's cheeks like I was Donkey from Shrek. Then moments after my momentous victory, I was savagely assaulted and curb stomped like I was in a Gears of War game, which is a dragon that I get to fight because of Ranni's questline, so I'm excited to fight that guy. Oh, Jesus. Okay. What the fuck was that about? But despite that minor setback, we did not let that stop our momentum, keeping that same energy up for the fire giant. There was one issue though because of my new build. I mean, it was fine and all, but this furry fire crotch was resistant to some of my status effects, so it did take quite a bit of chopping to take care of him. Why did that instantly kill me? Ooh. First try. Then once the Jolly Red Giant was down, this is actually where I took to incognito mode for some of this achievement. And that's because I like doing most of the busy cleanup work, like grabbing obscure talismans, sorceries, and incantations off stream so I don't bore people to death. Also, did you know there's a dungeon inside Radahn's arena that has a full-blown ghost war going on? It's pretty dangerous, but for the most part, you can mosey past them and go fight the overgrown axolotl, also known as the putrid tree spirit, and this guy's kind of an asshole. And aside from a few weird enemies and situations, I was able to collect quite a few armaments along the way, leaving everything I needed to be unlocked by Ranni's quest. I needed the Dark Moon Greatsword, Ranni's Dark Moon Legendary Sorcery, and all the while I was also progressing Fia's questline because there was one enemy throughout the entire time I've played that I have never fought, and somehow I also avoided all the spoilers for, which is Lich Dragon Fortisax. I'm not really quite sure how to say his name, but we will get to that in just a little bit. Now, there was a bunch of stuff that I also did incognito mode, of which I forgot to record, but here's the footnotes. Basically, I went underground and talked to a doll version of Ranni, killed an evil spectral version of Blythe, killed the real Blythe because he was commanded by the Two Fingers to kill Ranni, and that's some real fun lore to look up, returned to Rhea Lucaria to get a key for an elevator that I would only have access to after killing this fucking thing, but in all actuality, this was pretty simple to do. What was not simple was this fucking guy. I don't know why and I don't know how, but this guy was tuning me up. However, it was a pretty satisfying feeling because this was the last Spirit Ash I needed, and why not go out with a little bit of struggle? And after all of my offline endeavors were completed, it was the eve of Elden Ring Shadow of the Erdtree, and per my promises, I was gifting codes to people to redeem for the game, and to celebrate, I decided to stream the next couple of boss fights while I passed out those codes. But what I wasn't anticipating was for Gideon to actually show up during this playthrough. Oh my god, dude. I literally have to trade with this guy. I can't get in. Who does no hits in this game? Now, do you recall earlier in the game when I said I didn't know spells could hit that hard? Well, this fight, for some reason, decided to really instill that into me. The weird thing is that every time I fought this guy in the past, I always bodied him. I didn't even know that he was a spellcaster. I always attacked him so relentlessly that he never got a spell off. So yeah, it did not feel very good getting flexed on by Gideon so hard, but we got past it, we grew from it, we're moving on, we're forgetting about it. Then it was time for my favorite boss fight of the game, Godfrey and Horaloo. And I don't know why I love this fight so much, but the best way I can explain it is I just respect the shit out of it. These phases are just so badass. The voice acting is premier, the visuals are insane, and bro goes from roided out Paul Bunyan to roided out Zangief, but as if he actually worked out. I'm a rape, ya bitch! Watch out, watch out, watch out, watch out! Oh my god! Oh! But the most important part is that we never lost our cool because this fight is actually insanely fun. Because of that optimism, this happened. Yes, buddy! Every time. Oh my god. Come on, baby. Bleed for me. I need you out of my face. Yes! Get out! Ultimately landing us Horalu the Warrior achievement. And before moving further, it should be noted that the DLC became available during this stream, so naturally, I dove into that for a little bit and ended up forming a new build that I absolutely fell in love with. I've been using the new backhand blades with Bloodhound Step on it with a Frost affinity, and the Frost buildup is 105, so I'm straight up stone cold stunning enemies left and right. Then it was finally time to conclude Fia's questline and fight the Lich Dragon, and this was my first time getting to see his intro, cutscenes, all of his attacks, so please just enjoy my pain for a moment.
Hot!
I'm stuck in a branch!
Hot!
Holy Jesus! Damn! Up! And I'm not going to sugarcoat it for people. I think I was over leveled for this fight, or the new weapons were just really strong, or maybe a mixture of both, because it only took me 2 tries total to beat this guy, which was fine and all, but a little more struggle would have been cool. I really love that delayed gratification, so that's on me. This boss, though, aesthetically, super cool. He even had an attack that had like a buildup of static electricity around my character, which you had to like time to dodge, which was annoying, but also cool. Yes! But with that completed, all that was left to do was to beat Radahn and the Elden Beast. Also, can we just admire for a second how awesome it is walking in, seeing Radahn hanging suspended in the air? Like, that scene is just absolutely gorgeous. Now, I'm going to go on record about Radagon's timing of his attacks, which took me a round or two to get used to with my speedy build against him. New Game Plus Radahn does not mess around. Damn it! Dude, these backhanded blades are disgustingly strong. Oh, I thought you could jump over that one. But after I did get all of the timings down, I was straight dancing around this boss, and it was actually quite beautiful. Elden Beast, however, was a very different interaction all on its own, because since Shadow of the Erd Tree dropped, this was my first time fighting the beast with the ability to ride Torrent, which was a patch that they added along with the DLC update. And this was such a W of a quality of life upgrade, because the beast flying to the other side of the map after getting 2 hits in always felt bad. You can summon Torrent now? Yeah, they did it in an update because everyone was complaining that Elden Beast ran away from you too much, which I agree. Like, you should at least be able to ride Torrent and close the distance, you know? You should have the option. The arena's huge and he flies away so far, so as far as the change going, like, that's a good one. Back here, dragon. But with change comes growing pains, like learning that the Elden Beast projectile sword swipes track up pretty high, meaning being on Torrent was a serious health concern. Oh, come on, Torrent! Oh, come on! Jesus! But ultimately, I was able to lock in the defeat of the golden flying salamander. Tucker, I'm locked in. Elden Beast is just being a wiener. Okay. We're going for it! We're going for it! Yes! Oh! Elden Ring! Achievement. We've done it. We've done it. Then all that was left to do was to touch the weird thingy to initiate the ending, but I noticed something was off, because at this point I thought I was supposed to be able to summon Mommy Ranni. I should be able to summon Ranni. On the ground? Oh, there it is. Oh my God. You guys are the best. W stream. Yes, this is beautiful. Kind of the best ending. And with Ranni's ending in the bag, I had finally unlocked the final achievement that only 9.6% of people who've played this game on PC has achieved. Oh! Elden Ring! Obtain all achievements. Yes! Also, if you're wondering at this point why I haven't mentioned Melania, yes, I beat her. I did a whole video about it. Just know that the girl got the best of me quite a few times, but we did eventually get her, along with every other boss like the Regal Ancestor Spirit, the Gargoyle Twins, and everything else under the damn Erd Tree. It was definitely an insane ride going for this because this is one of the hardest games like I've ever played, and getting the semi-platinum achievement, as PS5 users call it, and yes, I understand that platinums are only for PlayStation, but it's still a full gamer score, so eat me. But yeah, would you go for an achievement like this? Let me know in the comments, and if you liked the video, drop a like and consider subbing. Later.